Let's go to Moncton, New Brunswick, where Krissy Vann is joining us. And boy, you did such a great job yesterday braving those winds, and it's looking a lot calmer today.
It is. It looks like we're just getting really light flurries right now, but check this out. This is what the aftermath of 40 centimeters of snow looks like. I mean, you mentioned the plows. They definitely got out here in downtown Moncton. And to put it in perspective, this massive pile, I mean, I'm 5'4", and it's almost as tall as I am. But the overall sentiment from anyone I've talked to this morning, they're happy. Their local coffee shop is back open. Slowly but surely, we're getting back to business as usual here in Moncton.
Good to hear. Thanks, Krissy. We'll check in with her again. We've got Krissy Vann joining us right now in Moncton, New Brunswick, where it's a lot calmer today, and I'm wondering, are the streets getting any busier because people are getting back to normal?
They really are, Nicole. There's been a lot more people bustling on the streets. But the funny thing is yesterday around this time, I mean, there were a lot of people that were out and about, and it changed so rapidly into a ghost town. The other thing that wasn't here yesterday was this gigantic snow pile that I'm sitting on. I cannot believe how much snow is piled on these sidewalks. It's really, really impressive. But it goes to show, I mean, the plows, I could hear them going past my hotel all day yesterday. So I know here in New Brunswick, they've got the snow cleanup down to a science. The one thing that people might encounter this morning, and if they're watching and may want to leave a little bit more time for, is the fact it looks like we got a little bit of freezing rain, because when we got to our car, the right side was completely caked in ice. The left side was covered with the blowing snow drifts.
So a bit of everything. Thanks so much, Krissy. We'll check in with her again. And there were closures yesterday around Moncton. Let's head to Moncton right now, where Krissy Vann is joining us. And even though I know there's still some school closures across New Brunswick, it does look like it's so much busier than yesterday.
Big time. I mean, a lot of people, though, that have been walking by so far this morning saying, yeah, that was a pretty impressive storm. Of course, New Brunswick, no stranger to nor'easters, but we saw wind gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. And of course, I was out in the thick of it all day yesterday, and it was pretty intense. And look at the aftermath behind me. I mean, you can see these snowplow piles are just mammoth. So they've been hard at work trying to get things back to business as usual. The road surface here, you can see, I mean, still a little bit snow covered. You could have some slick patches. And another reminder for people heading out the door this morning, Nicole, it looks like we may have encountered a bit of freezing rain in the overnight hours, because I kind of had to chisel out a little bit this morning.
All right, so still tough getting around.
My goodness, Nicole, that's a nor'easter.
That is a my goodness. We're joined now by Krissy Vann, who's in Moncton, New Brunswick. And Krissy, have you been talking to anyone to see how they dealt with yesterday's big storm?
For the most part, anyone that we've encountered so far, yeah, they were pretty impressed by the totals and the wind, and no doubt why. I mean, what I'm trying to walk in here is the sidewalk that I broadcast from yesterday, and literally the conditions were unbearable. We saw 90-kilometer-per-hour wind gusts. Oh, there we go. See, this is how much snow we have seen falling. So the goal of this morning, I mean, for those of you that it's safe enough to come downtown, we're at the corner of Main and Alma, and that's exactly it. I want to know how the blizzard of 2015 did impact your day, what you ended up having to do during the day. And my bet, Chris and Nicole, is a lot of people really just had to hunker down, stay home, and wait for those winds to calm and the snow to stop falling. Well, as you can see, it's a lot easier for me to stand out here in downtown Moncton today versus how it felt yesterday. The blizzard of 2015, it packed a punch. We saw significant snowfall. I mean, look around at these impressive snow piles from the plow, but it was the winds. As I was standing out here, it literally hurt my face to look in the direction of the wind. It felt like sandpaper rubbing across. Luckily now we're just seeing a little bit of light snow, just dealing with the storm aftermath, and I would love to have a chat with you if you are traveling in downtown Moncton. We're on the corner of Alma and Main, and let me know how the blizzard of 2015 impacted your day. As for the more snowfall that's coming our way, well, Nicole, I know you have those details.
Certainly do, Krissy.
Krissy, we got reports of a school bus in Eastern Passage, Nova Scotia, spinning out as well, so we don't know the latest on that. But have you been noticing any cars spinning out where you are?
All right, we'll get back to Krissy in a moment, hear what she has to say.
All right.
But the total, she was in Moncton, 39 centimeters, and Chris, the wind's 117 kilometers an hour. We check in right now with Krissy Vann, who's joining us in Moncton, New Brunswick. And Krissy, how are people dealing with the post-storm cleanup?
Well, here in the downtown, I mean, really a lot of it has returned back to normal. Most people have kind of been rushing by because they have been late getting to work, and that's because roads still a little bit dicey if you're traveling outside of the downtown core. I mean, you can kind of see behind me here that they're still a bit snow covered, and we know when it gets packed down, it does get quite slick. As well, we do have reports of school closures in Anglophone East District, so those schools shut down. So do check ahead if you do have plans for the day. We're still seeing the impacts of Blizzard of 2015. Crews are working hard to get things cleared up, and I don't know, Gabe, if you can catch this here, but we do have people trying to make even the sidewalks accessible, because if you can believe it, where that snowplow is, that is where I was standing yesterday, where things were dry and bare. Not so much the case today, Nicole.
No, not at all. Krissy Vann is joining us right now in Moncton, New Brunswick, with the latest on the cleanup mode.
Absolutely. It's all hands on deck down here in Moncton. As you can see, cleanup crews just trying to make the sidewalk come back to life. I mean, if you joined us earlier, I was standing in that massive snow pile. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people down here in downtown Moncton, and the one sentiment, the roads, definitely still quite tricky to get around, especially if you're outside of the downtown. Allow crews to do their job, because this is a massive cleanup effort. I mean, we saw upwards, I believe, over 40 centimeters of snow. There's still closures, so do check ahead if you are planning on going out in the East Anglophone District. We do still have the schools shut down there, so bear that in mind. It's going to take a little bit to recover here from the blizzard of 2015.
Question.
Certainly will. About the big storm and its impact in Canada.
Yeah, and I mean, we're still seeing the impact here today in Moncton. I mean, for the most part, I've been trying to get people to stop and chat with me, and the sentiment has been, I'm late. And I'm not really surprised, because the roads, yes, downtown, they've improved. And as you can see, cleanup efforts, didn't quite make it up there, have been immense. They've been plowing the sidewalks, trying to plow the roads, but of course, it's going to be a massive cleanup effort here. There's still closures as well, so be aware if you are traveling out, check ahead. I know the East Anglophone School District, that's still shut down. So we're still going to be dealing with the lingering effects of the blizzard of 2015. And Nicole, it's still snowing.
It certainly is. Thanks so much, Chris. Let's check in with Krissy Vann right now, who's in Moncton, New Brunswick, with the cleanup story in the East.
Oh, and what a big job it is. I was just talking to a gentleman who was using the snowplow to clear the sidewalk, and literally it's backbreaking work. I mean, you think a snowplow would just cut through, but you have to put so much effort into it. We've seen multiple plows still going by. I mean, here in the downtown of Moncton, things aren't so bad. Vehicles are getting around, but the story that I'm hearing is if you're traveling anywhere through the outskirts in the city, it's still very slick, and you have to be cautious. As a result, with the cleanup in full force, we do still have some closures, so check ahead for your daily plans. I know the East Anglophone School District, those are still shut down due to the storm. And as for how it's feeling right now, so much better. I mean, when I joined you guys yesterday, it literally hurt my face to be in the wind, so I can handle a little bit of light snowfall.
Good stuff, Krissy. 41 centimeters in Moncton, 47 in St. John, New Brunswick.
So we still have travel interrupted in the east, some school closures as well. But joining us in Moncton, New Brunswick is Krissy Vann, where things are much improved compared to yesterday.
Yes, Nicole, cleanup efforts are in full force. Now, I'm joined by Teresa here. Teresa, what were the impacts of the storm for you yesterday, and how have you found things today?
Well, I find them a little bit different today because the roads are opening, the buses are moving along the road, and also I appreciate, you know, what the town is doing, because I know it's hard for them to do it. But yesterday, it was just like a bug snug in a rug because everybody would be home. The schools are closed. You don't even see kids out in the playing in the snowbank and all stuff like that. But, you know, today I think if the schools were closed, they would be out and playing.
Absolutely. One thing's for sure, I was not snug as a bug in a rug yesterday here in Moncton. Moncton. As you can see, cleanup crews just trying to make the sidewalk come back to life. I mean, if you joined us earlier, I was standing in that massive snow pile at 90-kilometer-per-hour wind gusts. Oh, there we go. So you can see cleanup efforts. Woo! Didn't quite make it up there.
And this is what a nor'easter looks like in PEI, a foot of snow and 90K winds.
And they were cleaning out of nearly 3 feet of snow in parts of the eastern U.S. while we looked back at the snowstorm of 1999 in Toronto.
In the case of the big snowstorm here in Toronto, there weren't enough shovels.
And this is how you embrace winter.
Bullseye. Join us tomorrow, 5:30 a.m.